So anyways, like I was saying, so when my grandfather came over on the boat from Greece to New York in the 40s or 50s, okay, he had, I want to say there was like, there was a U in our last name. So, and there was no S at the end. So when he came over, they changed the spelling through immigration, how it would be easier for the normal American folks to be able to pronounce it. So then it was Commandoria. Okay, there's no S at the end. Well, when my dad was born, because his mom, so my grandfather on my dad's side is 100% Greek, and my grandmother's 100% Italian, and so my grandmother was like 21 when she had my dad, and my grandfather was like 55 when she had my dad. So like, yeah, you can see where that's going there, and so she ended up taking my dad, and after she had him, on the birth certificate she didn't know how the last name was spelled, so an S ended up on there. So literally no one on this entire planet other than my direct family has my last name, which is mind-blowing. And I just found this out. Anyways,
Commandorus.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
I've probably been saying it for 7 years the wrong way.
Yeah. Everyone at work said it the wrong way too.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like, you're just like, whatever at this point.
Sure.
So anyways, the reason I took so long to get on this podcast was, I had to go to the bathroom, and
I've learned too much about this man's bowel movements.
Yeah. So like, after I work out, it just kind of hits me. And it was one of those ones where it's just like, no matter how clean your wipe is, you just have to take a shower afterwards. Like
This podcast is not brought to you by Dude Wipes, but we certainly would accept the hell.
We definitely take a Dude Wipes sponsorship, or
anyone.
A Kirkland Wipes. That's where we get our wipes from.
Kirkland would be nice.
But yes, you just have one of those ones where you have to get in the shower anyways. Like, it's just...
You got in the shower after you went to the bathroom. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So, and then naturally, I had someone that I needed to have a chat with, because I had them blocked off for a certain time, and they ended up moving that time around. Being the upstanding chap that I am, I made time for me to get on and just go through their check-in stuff with them. So
very kind of you. So that's why we're late, everybody. Yeah, no, great. Well, today,
but I'm clean.
I think we've talked enough about. I think we've talked enough about the Grundle area of Justin Commandorus.
On one today, so this might be our best podcast yet.
I think so. I think episode 2 was our best so far, and hopefully episode 3 goes even better. Yeah, so today we were actually talking off air before we got on this morning, and what topics would be great. And we have like 10 to 15 written down, like just on the bottom of my computer, a little sticky note, but Justin wanted to talk about social media influencers, and I love that topic because not only have I studied this sort of stuff when I was in school, but of course I would consider Justin a social media influencer. I think we all, what I was taught in school is we're all in charge of our own brand. Justin has a brand. I have a brand. You listening, you have a brand. Whether you decide to market that brand is totally up to you. So the topic is social media influencers, and then how they influence our thoughts, ideas, expectations. This is not going to be a scholarly, peer-reviewed journal, like sort of exploration. What our thoughts are. I think we've said this before, but I'm just going to restate it because it cannot be overstated. If you want that, you have to go do the work. Like, I'm not going to pull up some media scholars, but if you want to hear two guys that have been working out and posting on social media for 10, 15 years plus, then we're your cup of tea. So with that being said, Justin, I know you use social media quite a bit for your business. So I kind of wanted to start with that for the people who don't really know you. How do you use social media for Common Athlete, which is your business?
We'll start with the fact that I really don't have any other way to get started in this industry or to drive, revenue to my business or to get new clients without social media. So without Facebook and really Instagram mostly, I'm just I wouldn't be existing in any type of way in this industry. And so, although there's a lot of drawbacks to social media, I just wanted to kind of start with that initial understanding that I certainly appreciate the reality that we're in with how social media is used. And I've also been able to meet a ton of people remotely because of social media that I call very close friends now. Dave and I have never met in person. So I have clients that I have never met in person that are really, really close with me, and I am close with them. And so I am so appreciative of the ability that that platform has been able to provide me. And certainly, I always see, you always see these posts about like, you know, I'm posting this for the 5 people that are following me that's going to like this, and hopefully that that'll have an impact on them, right? And so I try to view it in that standpoint that like I might never go viral, but if there's one person that whatever I do speaks to them and impacts them, then I'm winning, right? Like I'm able to kind of be above the negative trend of what everybody has the connotation about like social media. And so I am just again like appreciative of that. Now, as far as, you know, how do I use social media for my business? It really, to be quite honest, like all of the things that I post almost never can be related to like my average or my typical client, which is, you know, 35 and up females. I have a very small, tight knit group of guys that have been with me for a long time, but I've never gone beyond like 8 to 10 males. And there's a number of reasons for that, which I really don't care to get into. But so most of my audience is women. And so the things that I post don't necessarily relate to women. So I never had this big idea or this big plan that I was going to go and start posting things on social media because I felt like that was going to get me more clients. I felt like if I was just very transparent and I was just stayed close to who I am and what I like, that people would appreciate that. And so what I found is that, to be quite honest with you, Dave, is that I just prefer to post the things that I want to post on my personal channel or my personal profile. And if people like it, great. And if they don't like it, that's cool too. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't listen. And certainly here recently, with us doing more of this video content, I've had people that have said like, I really like listening to you guys nerd out on this stuff, and I do learn from a lot of the things that you're saying. And so I'm totally open to sharing this stuff more because it's providing value to people. This isn't like a way for us to, you know, create more money for Common Athlete or anything like that. Like I said in the first episode, this is therapy for me, and you have a degree in this stuff. So this is fun for you because you haven't been able to use your degree really up until this point a couple weeks ago. And so it's just a way for us to kind of scratch an itch and get on here and complain and hope that people relate to what we're complaining about on here. And so but I never had this strategy for, I'm going to post on Monday, I'm going to post this thing because it's going to get more eyeballs. It's like, no, I'm going to post what I feel like people enjoy or use social media for. Is like, if I post a bunch of different conditioning sessions, people can grab that and steal it and use it, right? And that's, for me, I feel like that's being helpful. That's giving more than I'm receiving. And if every now and again somebody's going to ask me about like, how do you do it this way, or what does coaching look like, how does that work, blah blah blah, that's great, right? That kind of stuff is naturally going to happen. But I have never felt comfortable with pushing some scheme or strategy into social media, specifically mine, because it's my face and my reputation that's on the line, right? So you're never going to see me post something like, I'm looking for 10 men that make $150,000 or more a year and that are motivated and highly ready to make a
I
change.
love those. I love those ads, dude. I'm like, you're killing half your
I have
business.
one in my phone that I took a screenshot of. I meant to send it to you because I'm like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say this annoys me. I
Is this
understand. Listen, I
was that? Yeah.
understand it, and I will not say the name of the person.
Yeah. Was that the former football player?
Yes.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
He played in the NFL
Yeah.
for a little bit, and
Yeah.
he's all over YouTube.
Right.
I actually,
No.
I don't. If I could remember his name, I would say it because I really don't care.
I really don't remember it. Yeah.
But yeah, he's like all over the place, and I'm like, so what if that? Like, I understand, you put that number out there because that eliminates all the people that just can't afford what you do. But I just think like, man, they have to make 150K just to work with you. Like, what are you, God's gift to freaking online coaching?
Dude, he's got Fountain of Youth. That's what Ponce de Leon was looking for his whole life down there. Yeah, in Florida.
So, but that's kind of always been like, if you want to call it a strategy, my strategy is just to give.
Yeah, well, and then the strategy too of like I was doing this because I was coaching at a local gym, and I could give a fuck if he listens to it because I think he's a douchebag, and he doesn't need me to say his name because I ain't gonna give it. But if you're listening to this, you're a douchebag. But it was like, hey, I'm looking for 5 men to increase their bench press by 30 pounds. And one of my friends, who I'm more than happy to mention, JP Carroll, who's trained at Westside Barbell. He likes, our stuff. And he's like, hey, like, I like what you're doing over there. He's always been super supportive of me when I told him we were starting this podcast. And he was about to compete. He got back into competing, and he's around the same age as you. And he said, message, shoot, I'd love to get, add 30 pounds to my bench. But he's benching in the, 400 or 500s. And it's like,
Wow.
He obviously was saying to me, like, Dave, like, this is pretty stupid that you even write this,
Wow.
because that it's going to take, 10 years to increase 30 pounds on a bench press at another. And he knows it was for the Gen Pop, but he was like, you can see the problem with this, right? And I'm like, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just such a stupid way to do social media marketing versus like, hey, like I'm, in this area, I'm here to help you. Like I want to increase, the general population. That's who I'm going after. Hey, you're a hardworking professional. You think you have no time. I'm here to help you get a better quality of life for your kids, for yourself. Because if you don't do it for yourself, you're really not going to get anything out of it. So that's like the messaging was so off, and it made me feel like a salesman. And I even had said this to the former employer, like, I don't want to be a salesman. I want to be a coach. And like, yes, you do have to sell, but you really, and we talked about this last episode, like we shouldn't, or maybe it was the first episode, we shouldn't like be the people that are like, hey, like, can you afford this? Of course you can. Here's the money breakdown versus like, no, like you're so excited. Like you're going to find a way that, I think you said it was like $4,000, $5,000 to bench 5,000 or bench 500 pounds. Yeah. Like I'm going to find the money because that is the most important thing to me. I'm right now in the 400s, and now the next thing I want to hit is 405. I want to say 425, whatever it is. And it's like, if you told me like, hey, it's going to cost you $4,000 in 10 years. And I'm like, shit. All right. See you in 10 years. And here's the 4K. Like, I don't care.
I think the context is super important there.
Yeah.
Because that specific niche that post was geared towards was like high school kids, right? That are playing football. And so
busy professionals that are young.
Like those kids, they can put on mass and they can put on strength very quickly. So for them, it makes sense. But like you and I, and again, we talked about this prior, but like if I want to go after a specific goal that when it comes to like strength or even like athleticism as a long in the tooth athlete, right? You're going to have to devote 5 years or to be able to reach those goals. So like if somebody comes to me that's a former athlete and let's just say they're 40 years old.
Sure.
Hey, I want to get back to a 38-inch vertical, or I want to get back to a 405 bench press. This is where I am now. It's like, cool. Number one, muscle memory is in play here, so we'll be able to make some adjustments to get you where you want to be. But you have to be willing to put in a significant amount of time. And on top of that, you have to take into consideration where you're at now compared to where you were at 20 years ago in terms of life stress, having kids, your job, all that kind of stuff. Whereas before, we didn't have to worry about that. It was just like, let's go in and get after it and then eat and chill. Like that's
Right.
what you did. Play Xbox, whatever.
Yeah, you can't live on Pizza Hut and Burger King like you did. Oh, it makes me want to throw up thinking about it. But yeah, you can't live on pizza and burgers at 38 years old. You're
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
insane if you think you can.
Your buddy that you're just talking about, he made a post a while back about how the greatest one of the greatest exercises or one of the greatest pieces of equipment for a power lifter is an Xbox or a PlayStation.
But yeah. No, JP
Because
did say that. Yeah,
you can literally like you're sitting your ass down and you're resting and you're
right.
recovering.
And no one got. And like I think a lot of people missed the point. Is like he was saying like
Yeah.
you need to
Now,
recover.
That's not everybody. Most people need to be up and doing more, right?
Right, but he was saying it for powerlifters because he just moved to another area, and he was like, "This is like something that I have to tell my guys, and it's annoying that like I have to tell you this, and now I have to be your dad." It's like, come on, guys, like get the point.
It's the reality, and I think for most people, like the analogy there is that he's trying to get at is that you're not going to get it done with 5 or 6 hours of sleep.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're not resting and recovering, if you're just go redlining all the time, which is what a lot of people tend to do, eventually you're going to hit a rut and then you're going to stop, and you're going to stop until you feel better. And ironically, when you go to a doctor for aches and pains or for tendonitis or whatever, you know what they tell you to do? Rest. Take a couple months off. But if you take a couple months off, what happens? Now you are back behind where you started. You are far behind where you started.
You're here. Now you're here. Now you're trying to get back to here.
If you use a standard linear periodization and you worked yourself up to here from here, but then you take months off, you're all the way down here now. So you're having to work just to get to where you started at before. So that's where, the analogy comes into play. Like people need to rest more.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's one of our solutions, which is like one of my questions that I have here is like, how would you change social media for promoting health and fitness or just, health and nutrition or, you can just say anything, but like, how would you change it? I guess to get to like the baseline question is like, what would you change about the social media landscape to start promoting more? And then furthermore, to stop promoting as much?
Yes. So like, again, I'm on one today because I'm remembering everything that I thought about yesterday now, which I normally don't do. So I had a conversation. Is
that because of the concussions that you don't remember stuff from yesterday? Is that what that means?
It's just all the multiple things that are going on.
The way you said that, Emily worries that I've never actually have a lot of concussions, not from football, but from banging my head significantly hard on barbells for 15 years. And I said, there is a slight chance that I have just as bad of head injuries as football players. It's scary.
Contrary to what a lot of people think it's not the concussive blows, it's the subconcussive blows that create the issues for people like me or a lot of other people that, played 10 years in the league or played in college or whatever. And that's not every position, but you don't see a lot of like offensive and defensive linemen getting concussions because the collisions aren't occurring from multiple yards away, right? The reason why quarterbacks get concussions, I think, is because they don't have the same amount of work capacity because they're not doing the same amount of work. So they're not, when they get tired, they're not getting as much oxygen, which is where knockouts occur because there's no oxygen protection in the brain. Anyways, so the linemen, you're not going to see those big, huge, unless it's like a pulling situation or something like that.
Sure, coming across,
What they are getting is, I want to say that the physics, to my understanding, is that it's like getting in a car wreck at 30 miles an hour.
The mini car crashes, 70 snaps a game. Yeah.
You're guaranteed that you're going to have, they could call targeting every play on a D end and an offensive tackle because their heads are going to hit every single time.
Right.
And so those subconcussive blows is actually what causes a lot of issues for people later down the line versus like you get one concussion, but you don't have any other blows that you're taking to the head. you're
Right.
probably going to be a lot better off. And so again, it's all semantics and science and stuff, but I had a lot of that, but I'm not,
Sure. Yeah.
my memory's good. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I get so caught up in the numbers of the day and all that kind of stuff. So
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's my bad. You said that you were thinking about stuff yesterday that were
no, that's
making you
okay.
mad. Yeah. It was social.
That's why we do this, because all of this stuff is in my head and we're trying to get it out. So
This is
I'm
his
having
other
a
therapy.
conversation with a client, and we got on this topic of like, or no, she asked me about my podcast. Like, she's like, "Oh, you're doing a podcast or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah," and I was trying to explain it to her. And
it's called the Dave Chase Podcast with Justin Commandoris.
yes, exactly. So
That's what you call it now. Yeah.
yeah. So I got into talking about how I saw a post yesterday that was still fresh in my mind about how this guy, this influencer was on a podcast, and the person that was interviewing him said, like, "What's the worst piece of equipment in the gym?" And this guy said, now everybody that's listening, context is everything here. Okay. So I watched the whole video. So don't sit here and tell me that I didn't watch the whole video.
Is this someone I know that was posting it?
I've never seen this guy before.
Oh, okay. So probably not. Yeah.
So, or this girl. So he says the worst piece of equipment, by far the most worthless piece of equipment there is the elliptical. And
Okay.
I'm like, that is the most asinine thing when you start to take an exercise and pigeonhole it as like the worst thing. Now, the context for him was, well, people think they can just get away with doing the elliptical and not doing anything else, and they're just kind of going through the motions, and it's not really providing them any benefit in terms of strength in terms of strength. So I'm like, number one, lead with that, right? That if you're gonna create a reel, and then the reel's gonna end at you just saying that that's the most worthless piece of equipment, that's like you're trying to get people to click and buy something.
Sure, it's clickbait bullshit.
It's clickbait bullshit. Yeah. So for me, like, I have no problem admitting that, like, when I'm going to go do just like a low steady state type zone 2 type of day where I need to recover, the elliptical or like the arc trainer is like my go-to, because
I love the arc.
Like,
yeah.
Low impact.
Sure.
And you just get into it and you can just go and you can keep your heart rate exactly where you need it to be. And there's not too much and not too little. And it feels good, and you get those good endorphins. And
well, you also said that the other thing that's not, that you're not even mentioning, is like, you have a home gym, I have a home gym. When you go to the local gym, which I forget what it's called, but that you go to, but you go there to also get out of your house because you work from home. And now you're like, you see some people that might be clients or just friends of your family, or, whatever, they know your kids. And so it just gives you an opportunity to go there, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to stand on the elliptical. I'm going to listen to a podcast. I'm going to do some reading, like, these are things that I want to do. I don't want to be just on a regular walk today, 2 walks, I'm going to do 1 elliptical workout. I'm going to do 1 walk. Like, that's amazing, because it's also giving you new experiences. And there's every part of our day is an opportunity to network with people. Like, when you work from home, you're cutting a lot of that time down.
Yeah. So I think ultimately, like, the whole context was like, it's not hard, and it has to be hard, and it has to be this, and it has to be that. And it's like, but it depends. It always depends. Like, the answer is to any question that's fitness related is always, it depends. It depends on what you're doing, the person, what their needs are, so on and so forth. And to relate that to the question, which was like, how would you change, social media for promoting health and wellness? I feel like there has to be almost some kind of like disclaimer, which was like the next thing that we talked about, was like, you go to these influencers' pages, let's say you're more likely to see somebody that has 500,000 followers than to see somebody like me, right? So you're going to go to their page, and you're automatically going to see a blue check mark, and that they have 500,000 followers, or however many followers you have. And automatically, like, for whatever reason, that's bought your trust. And for me, it's the exact opposite. I automatically become skeptical when someone has that many followers, which I feel like everybody else should be skeptical in that situation unless they know like specifically who that person is ultimately. Because if you look at the amount of people that actually know what they're talking about and that actually practice what they preach on social media compared to all the people that are just in it to sell their one-off program and just make money without them having to do anything, it's pretty astonishing the gap between those two. So you have my understanding of it, and just from me looking and listening to other people talk about it, is 90% of what you see probably don't know what they're talking about.
And there's definitely great outliers. Like I would say Ben Bruno, yes. DeFranco.
That's the 10%.
Yeah, they're like just those little 10%. Yeah. And if it does, I think it goes back to like what your algorithm is. Like, who are you following? My picture of my wife is falling down. Sorry, Emily. So I turned off my camera there. But what do you see? So, I mean, I would say that we need to change, like, to go on what you were saying. I don't know if you were, like, getting to, like, hey, like, we need to stop seeing these 90%, or just even putting, like, you know how X used to put, like, the whole, like, context? Like, I feel like we need context. Yeah. Like, hey, this is AI generated, or, hey, like, this isn't research, like, based, like, something like that.
Yes. Okay. So that's a great example, right? Like, you have people that are there in most, and again, social media supports this, but like let's just use the old Liver King as an example, since
he new Netflix special. You need to get on there. Yeah, I'll be watching that tonight or tomorrow.
Half of it.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it tomorrow.
First of all, I don't hate Liver King. I don't mind it.
Hate's a strong word, and I would just say that like when people say I hate this person, like, you don't even know the first thing about them. Whether he hasn't done like what, like, he's not O.J. Simpson. I mean, like, well, let's call a spade here. Come on.
Well, there's always smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And I think with him, they ran on that whole scheme of smoke and mirrors of like, okay, no one's, and if you watch the documentary, you kind of learn how they did it, right? Because he didn't start off being who he was. He created this Liver King character and then started doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and that just kind of went crazy. But people don't know that he had that supplement company before he was actually famous, right? So as an example, in his situation, and then I can use a lot of other scenarios here, but like, people truly believed that he was natural and that he gained that physique through hard work and then through the good genetics and the nutrition that he was eating. So it's like he eats all this raw shit, liver and testicles and penises and all these other things that he's eating, right? And I'm sorry, penis.
I don't think I'll ever get to an age where when someone says the word testicles or penis and it's not funny. Like, and I'm 33. Like, when am I going to grow up? But it's just funny.
Never. Yeah, never.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
I saw, in fact, I'm going to stop segueing, but I just saw a post of, why are all the people around me getting older and I'm not? It's like,
yeah, no, for real.
It's all about like how you perceive everything. So if I want to be this goofy guy and tell dad jokes all the time and like my kids love it, then that's going to keep me young. So whatever.
The Island of Irrelevancy, Paul Heyman, one of my favorites in wrestling. Why do you care what other people think, and specifically the people that you legitimately don't need their opinion? Yeah. Megan matters to you. I know that her love and respect matters. I know your 3 kids love and respect, and I would say probably your parents, right?
Yeah.
The same goes for me. I could literally not give a single fuck about what somebody online or somebody from my high school cares about me. And I have friends who are nice. Obviously, I'm still friends with them. But like, if they said like, yeah, I don't like agree with what you're doing. One of my buddies called me today and he was like, dude, I'm super jacked up. You're doing a podcast. Like, I'm proud of you. I'm a little jealous because I want to do a blogging for, my business. And I'm like, like, hell yeah. I was like, why can't you? It's legalities. But like, he never once said like, you're stupid for doing this. But I have to hear about, here's a fundraiser for my kid. Dude, I don't care about your fun. I don't care about your fundraiser. Like, I just don't. But anyway.
Yeah. So like when I see stuff like that on social media, I'm like, that's good stuff. You know what I mean? That's a really good message, right? Like, how can we be more a part of that? But to kind of get back to
a part of what I lost,
like the positive stuff, right? Like, how can we get into where I said, like, everyone around me is getting older. But
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
like
30, then why am I
more
not getting older?
positive, more
Yes.
uplifting, or just like humorous posts, like memes. Like you're saying, you're pro meme. I would say I'm in the middle because there's a lot of the word meme is like, and I'd have to do this after and post, but like you can literally write anything. You could write like Galileo like once farted in front of everyone, and that's why they didn't believe him, like when the Earth was rotating or something like
Yeah.
that. And that's like actually the definition of a meme is like you can write anything, and people like think it's like truth, and so that's to me is a slippery slope. But I like funny memes that, like you said, like it's like, oh, like hey, like I'm still a kid at heart. It's like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
But you're not stating a fact. You're just like saying like an observation. That's different.
that's what people want is they want to see like the real
Right.
you, right?
Right.
They want
This
to
manufactured version
that's
is not it.
that's why reality TV works. And again, social media is mostly not reality.
Right.
That's what Liver King. What is his last name's Johnson? Is it Brian Johnson? I think.
Oh yeah, I think that's his name.
That's what he ran on was like, and his scheme
Brian
was
Johnson.
like Brian Johnson. So his whole thing was like, I've got these ancestral tenets and I live them, and that got me this insane physique, right? And so allegedly
spending over $11,000 a month on performance enhancing drugs and other things is insane, by the way.
So how do we fix that, right? Because social media is the Wild West, and so is online coaching, in that there's no written law or rule that you can coach somebody and you have to have a certification.
Yeah.
And I will say again, gray area, because there are lots of dudes, and Buddy Morris is one of them. If you don't know who Buddy Morris is, he's the strength conditioning coach for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's old school conjugate. Like he's done it all. He's mentored thousands of strength and conditioning coaches. And
2021 NFL Strength Coach of the Year, Buddy Morris.
Yes. So he will be the first person to tell you, like, I have no certificates to my name, or it's not about like your degree or whatever. I'm sure he has certificates, but it's not necessarily about that. It's about the sweat and the blood and the tears that you've put into what you've done and the experience of that. And so I think that, even like, not to shout out John again, because I know we did on the
sure,
last
one, yeah.
When he started, he just had a basic NASM, and but he was very much like, I don't use that, I just keep it up. I'm all about conjugate and Westside barbell. And then he was like one of the first people to get the special strength certification, like 10 or 15 years ago. So it's like, I can have that cert, I can have CPPS, whatever, but you know how many people have asked me about that cert?
The CPPS? Yeah, no, I did. I'm
Besides
the only
you.
one.
I'm saying,
zero.
People that like clients that have said like, well, what are your certifications, or do you have a degree in this?
No, I see what you're saying.
Right?
The slippery slope of it.
Because once you've done something long enough and you've built up like, enough trust and before and afters and the people that follow you and all that kind of stuff, like it really becomes somewhat irrelevant. But at the same time, like, those things are still relevant because it shows that you've put some kind of effort into your education, right? This isn't just about money, right? Which most of these people, it's just about money. If anytime you see something that says your doctor doesn't want you to know this, it's probably not true. Or your trainer doesn't want you to know about this secret, it's probably not true. All that is a marketing tactic for them to drive people to whatever it is that they're selling, right? So to bring it all the way back to Liver King, he ran again on the whole thing of like, I built this physique based on this, and there was just no context around it. You either believed it or you didn't until he got caught.
Sure.
Right? And again, I don't care. I could care less, because the overarching theme of that is, how can I use my body to get all of these other people more healthy? And if you think for 1 minute that hundreds of thousands of people didn't change their life and their diet and all the different things that they did based on that guy, then you're crazy, because it happened. like there's plenty of people that still support that guy, right? Now there's a
True.
lot of people that are like, oh, it's fake, and I understand that, and that's where I think there should be some guidelines or disclaimer of like,
Yeah.
I look like this because I worked hard, but then I also did these things. Like, for instance, if you have somebody that is advertising their social media based on the fact that they lost 200 pounds and they did this special diet that they created all by themselves based on that, right? That thing.
Yeah.
But they forgot to mention that they also went and got on testosterone and they went and got on peptides and growth hormone secretagogues.
I thought you were going the other way with the, they had a stomach surgery, which like I have a personal, I have a personal like connection. Like my mom and my sister both got it, but like my mom was 62 or something when she got it, and then my sister got it. She had other medical conditions that she was like, but she's not also a coach going, hey, buy my big booty, buy my big booty program. No, of course, and it's like,
okay, so
those are for health reasons, not hey, I'm gonna get this surgery and then I'm gonna go try to be a millionaire off of people's stupidity. Right. And it's sad, and we know people that still do that. We know why you lost 100 pounds. We know.
Yes, there are people specifically that you mentioned, like buy my big booty program. Okay, well I forgot to mention that I got a BBL last year.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the reason I lost 120 pounds or 100 whatever is
you gotta buy
I got my stomach, which this is how big my mom's stomach is, right? And now that she's moved to Texas, I go, oh, let's go get you some food, or I'll make some food for her at the house. And she was over last night. I'm like, Mom, like let me make you it was like Mediterranean chicken. It was like chicken, rice, tzatziki. I feel like you'd really like it. And then like tomatoes and cucumbers. And she was like, you got to make me a plate that's like 1 to 2 pieces of chicken, like legitimately like not even an ounce of rice. Like I can't, 50 grams of rice. And she ate like a bite or two and said like, I'm done. And I was like, wait, really? And she's like, I explained this to you. My stomach is so small that her lunch is 3 peanut butter crackers. Swear to God.
Yeah. So again, like there has to be
some sort of context that's added is what you're wanting.
Some disclaimer there.
Sure.
Right. And again, like it's the Wild West. I don't think legally that will ever happen. So it's like,
no.
Okay. So how,
this is your magic. This is the Gladwell where he does like magic wand experiments. If you could wave your magic wand on social media, what would you do? So magic wand is adding context.
Right.
Disclaimer.
There's nothing wrong with like, with honesty.
Sure. Yeah.
In those situations, because I think if people like you and they trust you, and they see you working hard, and it's not always just like, I'm wearing a crop top and I'm wearing shorts that are, pulled into my thighs and all these different things, like, so you can see that, I created this. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure you're working hard, but like, if you went and got a BBL, then you probably shouldn't be promoting yourself and selling things based on the fact that, your booty program is the best thing ever simply because you created it. It's like,
what's another weird thing that I've seen on social media that I have seen is that I would get rid of just like to play in the game too, is when people post, like, I kind of don't like that there's so many fights online. It'll be like a Mother's Day post and be like, hey, like someone's like getting their ass beat like at like a restaurant. And I'm like, who is this serving? Like, are you happy about like posting this person's like probably their worst moment of their life?
Yeah.
Posting that. And then the other like thing I would say is like, posting, you talk about like dishonesty, like watching like a post and someone's speaking in a language that I don't speak, and then it's captioned in English, American English, and I'm supposed to just take your word that's. I was talking to Emily about this the other night. I said, I don't really like that because now I'm supposed to take your word for it and you're not sourcing it. So I feel like we need more sourcing if we're going to post something. It was like about illegal activities and like, I think it was like people selling their bodies, but like trying to like find like underage people for like creeps. And I was just like, number one, like this shouldn't even be on the internet because now you're getting you're enticing the people that are into that, but you're also bringing, who is it? Like, what are we doing about this? Like there's no like bills that are being written by Congress people after they watch a video on Instagram. Only you and I are, the regular people are clicking on that. Like our Speaker of the House isn't clicking on these videos.
Right. Well,
and these videos are dishonest.
Where do we draw the line though, like on free speech? You know what I mean? Like, is it like, and who is who is the person that gets to dictate whether something is, truth and or something is reality and something is.
Well, I mean, it
And
has
we
to be
ran
it has
into
to be
that
fact checked. Yeah, it
right,
has to
but
be
we
fact
ran
checked.
into that with COVID, and it's like, but who's fact checking? Because all the things that they said,
Yeah,
when it came to COVID and
I see what
vaccines
you're
and all
saying.
that stuff, like it ended up being, even though people were saying like,
Not all. I mean, if you're going with like certain people and you're saying that maybe we weren't privy to all the information, that's
correct,
fine. Yeah, but we're also having people who are hosts on a entertainment network that calls themselves news. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks on which that is, but it's like this miracle drug is gonna, get COVID. Look up the drug. It's for deworming
yeah,
animals. So we're gonna say, oh wait, who owns that company? Oh, it's the person saying that it's gonna cure COVID.
yeah.
So
Well,
like
again, it's like,
we need to save people from themselves, Justin, is what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like we need to say like, hey, so this person is pilfering this, this person is peddling this product and you probably shouldn't trust them. Like I said, magic wand, that's what I would do. More
it's
honesty.
all in your personal belief system, right? But
I don't know about that. I just want I want honesty. If that's a bad
yeah,
personal belief, then yeah.
yeah, totally. It's a two-way street, and I think ultimately it comes down to like, what do you believe, and
Sure.
if
That's fine, but be given all the facts first. That's what I'm saying.
correct, yes, 100%. So if
Yeah.
you're being led down a certain path based on like distrust, then
Yeah.
you're probably not doing the right thing. Now, from a contextual standpoint, and I used to, when I trained my guys, when it came to selling supplements, I liked to train them from a perspective of passion, right? And so this is going to open up a whole other discussion on another topic that I wanted to discuss in regards to social media and selling fake things and stuff. But I told my guys, I said, because it was always a point of contention of like, does a detox really work? Does a fat burner really work? Does this sleep aid really work? You and I both know that the majority of like the test boosters post SARMs, post pro hormones don't really do anything, right?
Not as effective as marketed.
No, correct. So, um, what I would with the younger generation, like they want to know why on a lot of these, why are we pushing these products to people that that don't necessarily work? And from a point of passion, I would say, if you had an uncle or even a parent that was like the worst of worst alcoholics and they needed an intervention and their life was on the line, but you had to tell a white lie to get them to change their lifestyle and so they would live, would you do it? And they, of course, everyone says yes. Like, I love my uncle, I love my dad, I love my mom, whatever, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get them help. Sure. So if somebody comes in that's very obese and they need help, right? We're in this gray area where it's like 50-50. Does this really work? Does the supplement itself really work? Or is it the fact that the person takes the fat burner, it gives them more energy and more motivation? Is it really burning fat? Probably not. But is it making them do more because they have more energy and more motivation? That's probably where the reality of the situation is. So if you're going to promote something or sell something to somebody, like, you have to believe it and get behind that thing, right? So I always pose the question of like the scenario with the alcoholic or somebody that's very sick or hooked on drugs that needs help. Like, you're going to do whatever it takes. You have to view the customers and the clients that come in as people that need your help. That's why they came into our stores, is they need help. And so you'll go maybe a little bit above and beyond to get them to purchase something, even if you're kind of like unsure. We're not talking about freaking creatine or pump stuff or protein, things that we know naturally work, right? Like, there's a ton of data. The data on things like phosphatidic acid and laxagen, some of the 1 and 2 and 3 andros that are out there, like, it's very shaky as to whether or not that stuff actually does anything. And I think for a lot of people it probably doesn't do anything at all. Maybe it does more good than bad. But I always like to relate it to, like, detoxes or fat burners. Like if that motivates somebody in like a placebo type of way to make a change, that's likely the reason why they got results, not because they took that supplement, right? So
Well, then you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to change all these. Are you trying to change the social media game for subs too? Because that's a whole other ball game.
yeah, so like I bring this up because someone sent me a promotion that was being sold based on like this special detox formula that's like it rids the toxic poop from your gut and all of these things. And they always ask me because they trust me and they're like, they know I worked in that industry and they know I'm going to be honest about it. And so the first thing I say is like, your body has the capability to detox itself, right? Like you have a detoxification system. So the way that the detoxes work that we sold, and it's the like white willow bark, and there's some other things in there. Well, what those things do is they make you shit your pants. And so you think you're detoxing. Dave, I kid you not. When we first got let me not say the actual name. When we first got a specific detox from a specific company, I had 4 people that took it in the store once they bought it, and they called me 20 minutes later because they were throwing up on the side of the road. And I'm like, that was the white willow bark. It'll pass after you take it for a couple days. Well, they think they're detoxing, but really all they're doing is getting like a pill form of a clonic or an enema, right? So it's not actually doing what you're thinking that it's doing. It's ridding the body of inflammation.
Is someone going to come after us from that company and sue us?
No, because I didn't say I ate the company.
I ain't got no fucking money. By the way, if you come sue me, it ain't gonna work out well.
It's one product. Again,
right.
The bulk of they have since changed the ingredients of that product as they learn different things.
Sure, yeah.
Like they took away SARMs and pro-hormones and all that kind of stuff based on legalities. So they always did the right thing when it came to products, and they put a lot of research and time into those things, because I know that those people weren't going to put their name behind something that wasn't great, because your reputation's everything. So this detox plan that this person sent to me was being sold along with this package of like, we're going to give you all these meal plans and these workouts along with this detox that you can kind of follow. And I said, when you take that for face value, what was the first thing that you noticed about that? And they said, well, like this detox is supposed to do everything. And I'm like, okay, cool. But you didn't notice the fact that it comes with like a structured meal plan and a structured exercise plan. And so the reality is it's not the detox that's ridding the body of toxic poop and inflammation and all of these different things. It's the fact that you started caring about what you put in your body and exercising. And so all of these, then it gets like all these reviews because all these great things are happening with people. It's like, that's awesome. All you're doing is starting to work out and exercise, and you're changing your lifestyle. It's not the freaking detox, because we know that stuff doesn't do anything. Again, I'm not shit canning supplements. We worked in that industry for close to 10 years.
Sure, and we helped hundreds of people, if not thousands of people.
Right.
I would say thousands, because we both ran big teams.
I still have supplements that I personally take and that I recommend to other people. But when I suggest things to people, number one, it has to meet what their needs are. And I don't just suggest things based off of what I see on social media or whatever.
And I would say furthermore, the people that I send to supplement stores, the name is Top Tier Nutrition. And the reason why is Thomas Culbertson is one of my best friends. And I just told him, anyone I send over there is because I like you, but also like you just said it, those people that we all used to work for wouldn't put their name to it. He doesn't have anything in his 3 stores in Florida that he wouldn't say, yeah, I've absolutely either tried it or I know that it gets results for people that and he's like exactly like you, tailored recommendations. I'm not just going to tell everyone, hey, you need to buy everything in the store. I mean, now he's training his team. I mean, he's been training his team since day one that way. Like, you need to help as many people as possible.
There is a night and day difference between a top tier or a Supreme Nutrition or a 5-star.
Shout out Davey.
Than there is for like a GNC or a Vitamin Shop, right? Like, that's just the service that you get in those places are the reason why you go there.
Yeah, you know the people by their name.
It can be
Yeah.
mostly the same stuff. So why would I
And
go?
you also, I feel like, the whole like greeting you at the door, and the fact that like Thomas is going to be working, that Dave is going to be working, and Luke, and then like I think one of their managers' name is Anna, and I follow her on Instagram, and like she's like their social media marketing person, but she's also like incredibly real about how she treats her customers and like her own like plan, her own
Yeah.
nutrition plan,
Well,
stuff like
I
that.
think
You know them by face, but because of this experience too, it's a
yeah, and I think
relationship. Yeah,
when you walk into a Total Nutrition or a 5 Star Nutrition, like when I was there or when you were there, like when we're asking questions based on those people's goals, wants, and needs, and then
yeah,
the first thing that we do, not the last, but the first thing that we do after we go over what their goals, wants, and needs are, was we would write them a diet plan
sure.
based on what they were
Get
trying
the
to do.
baseline
We
on
didn't
the
start with supplements. And
sure.
so we were sending a message that there is a synergy with everything that you do.
Yeah,
So if you go and you take creatine, whey protein, aminos, glutamine,
yeah. We're going on
pre-workout,
a
test
tangent on
boosters,
supplements. This was a whole new
supplements,
episode.
if you just take those things and you don't do anything,
Yeah,
what's it going to do? Nothing.
I'd say minimal to zero effort. Yeah,
If you take
or zero effect.
steroids and you don't train, nothing is going to happen except you're going to maybe break out and have some water retention.
Sure.
Right? So
Right.
ultimately, you can say that for any product is like, if you don't
Sure.
do something, it's not going to do anything. Right?
Right.
Detoxes as a whole, like I had so many customers that they would come in every single month and they would get their detox and their sleep or whatever. And I would always throw out like, hey, if you need this product to ensure that you're regular for the rest of your life, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Is that a
Right.
you thing or is that a
Right.
me thing? Right? Because the reality is, if you're reliant on that for good digestion, there's something else going on there that we need to kind of take a closer look at. And
Sure.
I'm not your doctor, but I'll be the first person to tell you. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, and I know a thing or two about gut health, and you need to. That's going to be one of those ones that you're going to be able to make a clip on, is the Holiday Inn Express. But you need to. You
I think
need
he
to
clogged
take
it.
yes, exactly. You need to take a closer look at your nutrition, and they're like, man, I just want to get this. And it's like, all right, cool. But I'm just putting that disclaimer out there because
Sure.
I was always big on transparency. And all of this is relevant to social media, again, because everything is in our face about what we need to buy, what we need to
Right.
take, what we need
Yep.
to supplement with, how we need to train, all of these different things.
And it's the overwhelming, we're having a sale. Like, remember that company that was from Florida that came big after the former guy's company got sued and they went to jail for it? Yeah. And so that company, it was like, they brought all of them into the stores, and then it was, oh, hey, like they're having 40% off sale online. I mean, it's always, you see all these companies now.
They use the military names for everything on their
Yeah,
stuff.
and you see the company online, and it's like, you get an email because you signed up, you buy their products, and now Targeted, hey, like we got a 40% off sale, and then these people will come in and say, hey, like, can you give me 40% off? I can go get it on, usnutrition.com. That's not the name, but no, we can't do that because number one, like that's a different service, and people wouldn't even understand that, which I think that's a media literacy problem. Is like people would think like you can just like price match, like just because you go to budget to rent a car for $40 a day, let's say, doesn't mean that Enterprise has to price match. That doesn't mean if you go to Walmart.com, they're going to always price match Amazon. It has to make sense for all parties. And social media tries to tell you, Justin, buy this specific watch, that you bought, or buy this feature, with your watch, or accessory rather. And it's like, damn, like, can I just go online? And that's another magic wand, is get rid of some of these ads. I want to see 50% less ads. That's really what I have about.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like where a lot of these guys that are like top notch, like they're the people that we should be going to for our, whether it be training information or whether it be like health information, the top of the line doctors, these people that are doing the things, they're living the life, they still get crushed in the viewership there. And so they'll get on and say like, why am I only getting X amount of views when this scumbag is over here promoting this awful workout program that's so cookie cutter that you can tell if you're you or I that it's made by artificial intelligence, right?
Sure. Or it's just an intern that's literally just writing up, hey, like it's a half a scoop of, half cup of oatmeal, 1 scoop protein, 20 grams. Like, great. Like, that's awesome. I learned that in I learned that in high school.
Well,
Thank you.
I think there's just there's got to be a level of, number one, there has to be a level of emotional intelligence involved
Sure.
in any of the situations when it comes to influencing, because you have to be able to speak to people in a way that they understand, but you also have to be somewhat empathetic to the problems that people are having. And I think when it's just so basic of like, hey, I've helped 100,000 people with X goal,
That's
I can
insane.
help you too.
That's
it's
insane.
just like, okay, like, are you sure?
Justin, 100,000 people. And you're thinking to yourself, you're 31 years old. How did you help 100,000 people? Does that mean that you have 5,000 clients and you have 5,000 clients a month that are all different, or you're getting 5,000 new clients and you did it for 5 months? Like what is it? Or is it 1,000 clients for 200 months? Or like, what is that? I mean, I would say that we got to tap into the 10,000 hour rule. It's going to take you about 10,000 hours, which is somewhere around a decade, to be an expert. And I feel like we need like an hourly, like, at the bottom where it says Justin Commodores, 9,868 hours. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, I like that number. It's like Dave Chase, 48 hours. Why should I listen to 48-hour guy?
Well, okay, so this kind of has jumped.
And by the way, people who don't know, I'm talking about spending learning about a certain discipline. That's what I mean by the 10,000 hours. Yeah.
I'm sure that there are 25-year-olds out there that are far more intelligent than I am and have done things for a good amount of time. But what they can't possibly have over me is 30 years of just
training,
being in that environment in a multitude of number of different situations that I've experienced, different personalities.
Right.
And so you can't really put a price tag or a certification on that level of experience. And I'm not saying that, again, those people can't do a good job, but I think of myself at that age, and I had, I guess you could say technically when I was 22, I had 10, 11, 12 years of training experience, right? And that's where you don't really know. It's like, well, man, this guy's 22 and he has 12 years of experience. That's crazy. He must have really been working hard. It's like, dude, I was 9 or 10 working out at the YMCA with my dad. Like, let's not count the 8 years that I was in a high school gym and in a YMCA just kind of working out. Let's not count that, right? Let's be realistic here. How many years have you been physically helping people, right? And again, you have to get experience in this. So that's not to discourage people from trying to become an online coach, but I think a lot of the old hats will tell you, like, if you haven't worked with somebody in person, you may not need to be trying to be an online coach because you just don't have the expertise to keep people safe. The lowest hanging fruit is do no harm, right? That's the DeFranco special, right? The number one most important thing as a coach or a trainer or a strength and conditioning coach is to do no harm. Because that's the
doctor's actual Hippocratic oath is
do no harm.
Ancient Greek medical code of ethics. Yeah, but the phrase is actually not present in the original oath. Will not abstain from all intentional wrongdoing. I will abstain from all intentional wrongdoing and harm. I will not give a lethal drug to anyone if I'm asked, and will not advise such a plan. Similarly, will not give a woman a pessary to cause. Okay, well, I don't want to say that, but yeah, but I would say, it just says here, avoiding harm remains a fundamental ethical tenet in medical practice. So yeah, exactly like you said, like if you truly want to help people, the first way to help people is to not harm people intentionally. And you are harming someone intentionally when you don't know how to keep them safe. You are putting them in that area.
So a great example of that is if I don't know like what somebody's needs are, if I don't know what somebody's strengths and weaknesses are, and I'm just like, I'm totally green, but I'm trying to get my feet wet, so I'm just going to start helping people in any way that I can.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone through a full
Yeah.
let's just call it like a basic evaluation of having a conversation with somebody on what
Sure.
their issues are, and then you load up a squat bar, or they load up a squat bar and put it on their back. Should they be doing that? Like, I don't know.
I would take it even a step further. When you write someone a program and you hadn't seen the assessment, like the other thing is, what do you always get on me about? What are the things that I hate doing? Because
Like,
I actually no, not that, not that. It's about safety. And I just,
yeah, so using the dang pins in the squat rack, like,
right. So,
arms for a
and I
reason.
know I use them now, but I'm saying that I think that not writing that, like, context does matter. Being specific matters, and telling someone when you write them a program, use the spotter arms or get a spotter if you know they're working in a commercial gym. Why would you not want to use safety bars to your advantage if you cannot physically lift with someone else? And even if you can lift with someone else, you probably should have safety bars up if it's
God
there.
forbid, Dave, you're out there in the Texas heat and you faint
Yeah.
because your heart rate got too high. Has nothing
Right.
to do with cardiovascular health or anything like that. You just
Sure.
faint, but
Yep.
you have 450 pounds on your back, and that goes with you to the floor and then crushes you. Like, people have died that way recently.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And I don't do that. I don't do that stupid shit anymore. But I'm saying,
well, I know. I'm just
yeah. Well,
that's
as an online coach. Yeah, exactly. You see people do it because either someone's telling them, whether it's themselves or someone else, hey, you don't need the spotter arms, or like that's for pansies, right? And it's is it, or is it just safe?
Find me a video where I have ever been doing anything in terms of like where I can't just drop it to the ground, right? Like deadlifting, obviously you don't need to be in a rack, but find me a video where squatting or benching where I wasn't in the power rack with the safety setup. Like, that's
Right.
something that you gain with age and experience.
Sure, because you've done enough dumb stuff over the
Right.
years too.
You'll still see people doing front context. Front squat is different. You can dump it in front of you. Zercher squat is different. You can dump it in front of you.
Sure.
But when it comes to a back squat, for the life of me, I still can't understand why people will back squat outside of the freaking safety arms. It just makes no sense.
Yep.
Oh, I can just dump it. It's like, yeah, maybe you pass out and you get all the weight that comes
and it's
down,
developing that relationship,
gravity.
saying the last time, like, I'll shout out like one of your clients, Kenny, right? Like, hey, Kenny, the last time you did this, it was 95 pounds and it's hotter now where you live. I actually don't know where Kenny lives. Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, Kenny, it's 22 degrees hotter than the last time you did this. I just want to make sure we're being safe. And then he goes, okay. Cause like, he trusts you. And like, that's it. Like, and it's like the other context, like, hey, Kenny, like, your son's out there too. Like, I want to make sure he has a good example of like how to be safe. And then he's like, oh yeah, like I got to be smart for him too.
Yeah.
Who's training with me and my kids. Yeah.
I think that's, I mean, I know we're a little bit off here, but like, again, and I've gotten on to him about that too. I'm like, dude, just put the safeties in there. Like, it's not that hard to.
I need a new rack. Like, that's what I need. Yeah.
You do, but it's not like one of these things where it's like, some people tell themselves like, and you do this, you'll tell yourself like, I have no choice. Jesus is my spotter. And
Jesus spot is the best spot of all time. It's been proven that the Jesus spot is the best spot of all time.
That's cool, but he also gave us free will for a reason. So if you're going to be a dumbass, then
that's a different conversation. Jesus didn't give us free will.
Yes. So like, that's where natural selection comes into play.
Darwin, my boy. You think they called him Chuck Darwin?
Maybe.
Okay. I just wanted to ask.
Cool.
They were like, Chuck, Sea Dog.
But again, like, you're not mentally putting yourself in a place where it's like,
no, you're right.
I'm going to fail, right?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I want to, if you're going to take a calculated risk, so there's a difference between going up 5 pounds with a weight and going up 50 pounds, right?
Yeah.
That's not calculated. But if I'm taking a calculated risk where I'm somewhere in that 95, even 90 to 100%, like, I want to make sure that I have, in case I fail, right, for whatever reason, fatigue or whatever, I want to make sure that I have some protocols in play here, which AKA having the safety arms set in place to catch this weight in case, something happens.
And the other one being when Emily's home on a day off or it's a weekend that she's not working, and I say, be behind the camera because I'm videoing it for you, and say, if any reason just run over and give me that extra 20% that I need. But we did segue a lot there with like, this is more for social media and like, how do we, so I feel like we did cover like, how do we as coaches serve the community? I would say that our answer on that is being more honest, transparent, telling not only our clients, but then the community online, these are the things that I would start focusing on, not here's some quick fixes or here's some quick services that you can get that's going to get you to that vacation that realistically will take you 6 months versus, hey, here's some things that'll like give you a good start, like going on the walk every day, doing some GPP, hydrating, getting quality sleep, stuff like that. Like very easy stuff. Would you say that that's applicable?
From a leadership perspective, I don't like leaving things without providing a solution
Sure.
to the problem, right? So
Right.
we're never going to present a issue that we have a problem with
Yeah.
without presenting a solution to the problem. So what are some perceived, or at least how I perceive, solutions to how you can find more trustworthy sources online, so on and so forth? And I think the first thing that you would probably start with is when you go to someone's channel or their page or their profile or whatever, are they promoting a product more than they're giving away information? Okay.
Sure.
So all of the people that I follow, I can DM them today and get a response to a question that I have in regards to training, nutrition, whatever, and it'll be pretty fast, right? If you can't get a intelligent response from somebody, meaning that you got an AI response in their DMs, probably not somebody that's going to be trustworthy, right? It doesn't mean that they're not intelligent. It just means that they don't, their concern is in the dollar and not in the person and their needs, right? So if they're doing nothing but posting what their workouts are and what they're promoting and how much it costs, and this is on sale, probably not a good place to start when it comes to trying to get information, right? Because I can go on and look in my feed, and there's people that are giving away, use this rep scheme or use this training style or here is a great recipe that you can use. And for
even
people
like
that are selling things,
yeah.
underneath that recipe, it'll be drop diet 30 and I will send you this link. And then it sends you to an email list so that they can funnel people into their sales email program or whatever, right? But if it doesn't have that, there's always going to be a time where I'm going to promote like my challenges, right? Again, I'm giving back more in those challenges than what I'm getting. Right. It's not, I'm not getting this, I'm getting enough money coming in for me to like pay for what I want to do with the challenge, right? Which is my time and the grand prize and all that kind of stuff. But I don't have like this thing that I'm selling. And if I had a subscription, and maybe I will in the future, but if I had it, for me, I'm going to promote it to where it's being done the right way. And there's just way too many people out there that are not promoting it in a way is trustworthy, and it's all about the almighty dollar. They're not really giving anything, right? Like they may say, oh, I'm giving you 7 days free. That's cool, but I already had to give you my credit card, to
right.
I've done this many a times where I've spent an hour creating a PDF for somebody that said, hey, Justin, like, I can't afford you for X, Y, and Z, but can you help me? And I'm like, sure. And so I go in and I'll create them a PDF, and it's basic, but they can follow that forever and get results with it. And I don't have any problem doing that. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of these people, they get to this place where they think their shit doesn't stink and they don't have time for you because time is money and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that, but I still think you have to come from a place of giving. Right? You have to give.
I would say that too. Like social media, I think you know where I'm going, but certain people we both know that like have rise the ranks in business, and like they even think like they're on the retail side, and like they think their profile is like so cool, and like they promote like how good they look and like the lifestyle they live, and I'm like, you're in retail, right? Like let's not act like we're Tom Brady here, okay? Like, and I just really wish that there was like, hey, like we got to stop this, because it goes into my next question, like why is it, in your opinion, important for kids in our younger generation? And I would say I put a cap here in our show notes prior, was under 35, to stay off of social media to prevent craving a body, or just, consuming content that has shown them artificial, results. So like Photoshop, surgery, etc. Like, why do you think it's important for our younger generation? And I did
Performance
right here, like,
enhancers.
as a father, well, just for kids in general, younger
Yeah.
people, why is it important for them to not see this sort of stuff and be off social media? Like, because that's my big stance, is I don't think anyone should be on social media until they're at least 18 years old.
So for me growing up, like, what was the social media, even maybe for you when you were a lot younger, the
Facebook.
social media was
MySpace,
not,
Facebook.
even like before that, right? It was magazines.
Oh, Muscle and Fitness, dude.
Yes,
Oh my
Muscle
God.
and Fitness,
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
different things, like this is the Arnold Schwarzenegger workout program that changed people's lives, and it's like 4 cents
Yeah.
a 10 for 16
Yeah.
exercises. And
I actually really like those magazines. I really did. I don't care.
And they were cool, but they create this, number one, for athletes, this expectation of like, I need to just be big and jacked. And it's like, no, you don't. You need to be able to move and be athletic and be
conditioned,
powerful.
athletic, powerful,
yes.
Speedy. So, like, you need to be fast.
You get in this gray area. And yeah, like even back then at 17, 18 years old, there's people's parents giving their kids steroids because they wanted them to.
Are we talking about the Netflix documentary, or maybe it wasn't on Netflix, but Bigger, Faster, Stronger?
Great.
Where they had the story.
Again, like
it's hyperbolic, and the Bell brothers, I like Chris Bell, who made it, but
yeah,
it's hyperbolic because it's essential. But the other problem with that is like the phrasing that we use, like, oh, like this is education on steroids, or I got Art of Winning, right, which I got to read that next, by Bill Belichick. This is how to win on steroids. It's like, can't we just say like, hey, like this is a really good training program that is going to work if you follow every facet of the program. Like, why do we? And the other thing with the kid, you said with like the steroid, like they're getting, people are giving their kids steroids. You should go to federal prison if that's what you're going to do. But it was like, oh, he's a pitcher and he got into steroids and he died. They don't go into the fact that he had anxiety. He was having, these suicidal thoughts, unfortunately. Taking antidepressants. His parents were like not really aware of what was going on, and he didn't have people outside of his home that really truly could have helped him or were able to help him. So the context does matter, which goes back to what we said, context matters. So it's like everyone who takes steroids, it's like we really should have people that are a little bit more. Lyle Alzado, one of my favorite football players. He got cancer later in his life, and he said, I think it was brain cancer. Oh, I got brain cancer because I took steroids. There's no empirical evidence to support that. And people have come out to say, Alzado got cancer because he probably didn't take the best care of his body. Yeah. And eventually, Outlive right there. I wanted to put that there before the show to make sure everyone knows I'm a big reader, to see how smart I am. But if you take care of your body, then you will lower the risk. So let's not say the reason why you did this in your 20s or whenever he played, I think it was in his 20s that he played, 20s and 30s. That's not why he died. He died because he didn't take care of himself, and that's awful, right?
Well, okay, so he got brain cancer, and like, what was like the most popular party recreational drug back there? Cocaine. Back then, cocaine, right? Yeah. So we know what cocaine does to the brain, right? Mm-hmm. And like we've seen the scans and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, yes, the context does matter, but I think it's important for the younger generations, again, because it can create a super unrealistic expectation of, and this is for anybody really, it can create a super unrealistic expectation of, what the average physique should and can look like. I believe, and that is why I came up with the play on words in common athlete. Like, I believe that even the most common of people can create an athletic physique. Like, they have that. And if they train a certain way, then they're going to get a certain result. So again, but going back, like, we have to have, what's realistic. And nowadays you'll see more of these girls, like, they'll make a post like where they'll pull up their swimsuits where it's like, this is high hip, and suck their stomach in and take a picture. And then they'll show the picture next to it of them like pushing their stomach out or like sitting over. Like, yeah, everybody has rolls when they sit over. It's like, I understand why you're doing that, but you're still using that as a promotional tactic.
Sure. Yeah.
And so again, especially with women, because the media is just so aggressive at
Sure.
women's physiques and women's health and weight loss and all
What
this
defines
things.
beauty? What's in shape versus out of shape?
Right,
What
right.
are the things that you should be eating as a woman? Actually, something that I didn't even know. It goes to makeup. Is I actually asked Emily about this. I didn't know that. I think it was like one of the like rom com movies she wanted to watch. But I guess like there used to be like a day makeup that you'd put on while you were like a housewife, like when it was like your mom's age, or even like
Yeah.
maybe like your grandparents. And then like at nighttime, you'd have to like you try like a new night look. And I said, "What the hell is this?" And she's like, "No, like they literally would tell you to do your makeup differently depending on the time of day." And I said, "I had no idea this ever existed." And she's like, "Trust me, like we deal with a lot of stuff and media coverage and exploitation of what we're supposed to do to present ourselves to the male gender,
Yeah.
to other people in a very, you know, either sexual way or, you know, presentable way. Like you're supposed to be in a full dress and makeup and outfit with your hair done and you're like vacuuming in heels. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, is this real?
Again, it's just the social construct of like how things are supposed to be,
Sure.
and so a lot of women then automatically just have this expectation of like, well, I want a six pack, and
Yeah.
that's like at the top of the list where, you know, the reality is there should be other things that are above here in the hierarchy
I
of
want to
this.
be able to pick up my son without back pain. I
Right.
want to be able to walk 2 miles without stopping. I want to be
So
able to go down the street and grab some milk and run in and run out and not be out of breath.
I will see this almost weekly where, you know, I'll have people that are getting like awesome results,
Sure.
and I'm not naming anybody specific here just so we know, but it'll be like one week it'll be like, man, you know, I really just want my abs to pop and I want to keep losing fat, and then it's like a couple weeks later it's like, now I'm worried about losing my curves. And where is that coming from? It's coming from what they're seeing on social media, right?
And I would say, hopefully not at home with their partner or their spouse, you
Yes,
know, or
100%.
friends,
I would
or
hope to
friends
God
saying,
that that's not. And
Becky, what you got a fat, you know, you got a flat ass now. You're like,
yeah,
whoa, I've been trying to work on
as
this,
a,
man.
let me just throw this out there, and you know, it's, what do the kids call it, like simping? Just so you know, like if you're a husband or a spouse or a boyfriend or whatever, like don't grab a picture of a girl on your phone and then show it to your wife or girlfriend or spouse and say, I want you to look like this. That might be
Yeah,
the dumbest thing
yeah,
that you can do. And
yeah,
I have had clients that their husband or
yeah.
spouse has done that, and I'm just like,
It's
first of
awful.
all, you're never going to be that person because you are somebody completely different.
Sure.
It's just not.
The
You can
variables are
create
so high.
a you version of that physique with what you have. But
Right.
again, because of this unrealistic nature of what's out there on social media, I get those types of questions. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, like, okay, I want a chiseled six pack. Cool. We got to lose some body fat. And then a couple weeks later, I really, 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 really want to make sure that I don't lose my curves and I continue to grow my legs and my butt. Okay, cool. So then we need to up your calories so that you can gain muscle, because
Hmm.
those two goals don't really give into each other very
Right.
well.
And they have to understand that and have to be willing to hear the truth, even though it's not exactly what they want to hear.
But they will see somebody that
Yeah.
has both of those things,
Sure.
and there's no context.
The
Like,
yeah, yeah.
by the way, this person takes Anavar. Like,
The best is Cass Martin. Years ago, I heard an interview with her, and people are like, "I want to look like Cass Martin, right?" And she's incredibly beautiful. I'll put a picture on here, right? And I mean that in like the most like respectful way, right? Very good looking girl. But what people don't listen to is the interviews that she's done. And she said, "Me and my husband were doing home remodels, and so I was doing manual labor for 12 hours, and then I'd go work out, and during that time period I'm still eating very healthy, I'm hydrating." They think, "Oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom at 2, I have all the time in the world to go do that." The direct opposite. So this lady is bulldozing these homes, you know, demoing these homes and rebuilding them. So she is burning, what do you think, probably 2,500 calories at a minimum more than you, and she has enough money to go hire someone to make her food and have it ready for her on the road wherever she's going. She's living with a supportive husband. It's kind of hard to eat healthy when, you know, we got Andy's frozen custard down the road. It's kind of hard to eat healthy, Justin, if your spouse is eating Andy's and front even goes, that's good, right? Or something equivalent.
And I know people whose spouses do that.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
pretty
terrible.
sure that I came up with this quote, but I said that, and I made a post about it a long time ago because I kept hearing that kind of stuff where it's like husbands are trying to get their wives to break from their diet because they feel bad or they have a complex about it or whatever. So the post said, like, if your spouse doesn't support your health and well-being goals, you don't have a spouse, you have a roommate. Okay?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing this.
And that, to me, you can call me a simp or whatever you want to call me, but you should support whatever your spouse wants to do, no question, within reason, right? Like,
I think you're a stan, but in a positive way. It's that song
so
from
like,
Eminem, Stan.
yes. So like, obviously, if your spouse wants to like do drugs and stuff, like, obviously,
Probably not
context,
supportive.
people, context.
Right.
But, again, like, you should support somebody wanting to be healthy. And this all kind of comes back to,
especially if they're the mother or father of your child or multiple children. Why would you not want them to be around longer?
No matter what the situation is, whether they gain weight from childbearing or what, like, you should be in support of that person.
Sure, they're going through something.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I get a lot of situations where people are either getting unrealistic expectations from their spouse or from social media, and it's unfortunate that there's a lot of that out there. There's no context around it whatsoever, and so the expectation becomes now, Justin, how can we grow my butt and get a chiseled six-pack at the same time? And it's like, for the average person that's following a clean diet and strength training, we'll get there. It's going to take a couple years, and people don't want to come to
24 to 24 months. I want to do a pull-up. Okay, cool. 2.5 years.
Yeah. Like, there's just, again, it just depends. It all depends. Right.
Right.
So at the beginning, it depends. And so it's like genetics and the person's willingness to stick to the plan. How consistent are they? So on and so forth.
I want to bench 500 pounds, but I can only work out twice a week. Okay. It's probably going to take you 15 years then.
Knows,
I mean,
right? Like,
that's it. Right? I don't even know if it's attainable at that point, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my rebuttal to that would be like, maybe if both of those days were bench days. But
sure. Yeah. It would have to be insanely like focused on
bench.
End
up with the lower body of like a 6-year-old. So, like, again, you need your legs to bench. Like,
I can only work out for 30 minutes a day. Okay, that's fine. Your expectations have to change versus someone who has 90 minutes to train.
Correct. So again, these expectations 9 times out of 10 are not coming from that person's brain. They're coming from what they see or perceive to be what they want. Well, let me play the other side of the fence real quick on this.
Sure.
And say that there are situations where, and I've come across this personally, where people look up to what I'm doing and say, like, I want to look like you, however, that they can look like.
There it is. That's different. Hey, Kenny is built differently than you, but I think Kenny looks phenomenal. And I'll be like, hell yeah, Kenny on his post. Yeah. Because we have a different body. But like, in my head, I'm like competing. I'm like, who's going to transform their body the most? And I get excited that he's like doing things better at times than me, because that makes me think, okay, I gotta up my level. But I'm not trying to beat him. I'm trying to beat my version of me. Like, I'm just trying to beat me. That's it.
So like, okay. I used to get this with the CrossFit community at 5-Star all the time. How can I look like, what's that girl that is like short and stocky but jacked? She competes in CrossFit. She's got blonde hair.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, now that I watch wrestling, I want to be as jacked as all the wrestlers, like Seth Rollins.
So I'll get that. Hey, I want to look like, or even Dana Lynn Bailey. How can I look like Dana Lynn Bailey?
You can't.
Number one, you're 5'8" and she's like 5 foot.
Right.
So we need to just kind of like
She's also been training for what, 30 years?
Yeah, and has taken
a year. She's like 45 years old and she's been training for 3 decades. You think you're good, and she has millions of dollars, which means she has stuff available that is going to help her. And I'm not talking just about what you said, but I'm saying like she could hire a personal chef. I'm not saying she has one. But I'm saying she literally could say, hey, so I'm never cooking again for myself. You're going to do it.
So again, like those those pictures and those videos and those posts, they create some unrealistic expectations for people. But I do think that in for some people that it comes from a good place. Like if
Yeah.
people think that they can get like me or get somewhere near this and it motivates them to get to that level, then that's to be appreciated, right? That's a good
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
But when it gets in this mental place of like, if I can't have that, then I just don't want anything at all. I'm just not going to do it. That's where you're getting into that area of where it's just not positive anymore. It has
Right.
to be about you. And if it's not about you, then it doesn't matter. You have to make it
Yeah.
about you.
And like you said before, like when you see people online, I think it's funny when you look at social media influencers and you have no idea what they truly believe in. If I don't really know, like you said, like it goes back to like the what you believe in. I wouldn't mind knowing what someone's opinions are on other matters, not just training and eating. Because like Liver King, let's just say he is a very staunch reporter, supporter of something that I'm against. Like I like rice, right? He doesn't eat rice. Like, so, I mean, why would I follow someone that like thinks that what I do is stupid? But then there's other things like political issues or policy or how to raise someone's kid. Like, let's just say, for example, a social media influencer was like, yeah, I think you should beat the shit out of your kids to really discipline them. If I saw that online, I could love everything about that social media influencer. But I'll tell you, as a father, I would say, yeah, I got to unfollow this guy or gal like today. Just because, like, I'm not going to support that. And also, I'm never going to interact with someone that or boost someone that is insane, in my opinion, to like beat the crap out of a kid.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody has a choice here, right?
Sure.
You don't have to click that follow button.
Mm-hmm.
And to be quite honest, I think with a lot of those situations that for me, there's certain things where people are promoting themselves or their bodies in a certain way. I'm just going to go ahead, even though it just pops up. I don't follow them. I'm going to go ahead and block them because I don't want my feed to start looking like that. And you have to understand like how Instagram and social media works. So
We need
plenty of people.
media literacy classes in high school and college. We need them to be mandatory
Yeah. So like there's plenty of people where
because of AI generated images and videos.
correct. Yeah, forget about it. And because of that,
Should ban
again,
them.
the unrealistic expectation occurs. And so if you come across a situation where you don't just need to ignore it definitely don't follow them, but you should probably just go ahead and block them so it doesn't pop up in your feed anymore.
Yeah.
People can do whatever the hell they want. I don't care. I'm like, my views are very libertarian in that, like, if Dave, if you want to go play in traffic, like, that's your choice. Unless you have like a mental illness, then you should be rescued, right? But
Sure.
ultimately, people need to be able to make their own informed decisions on things, right? The whole reason we're having this discussion is that to hopefully like shed some light on what I've experienced in trying to run my business and promote myself on social media and what I've experienced with people trying to advertise things and people DMing me and asking me if I need help with getting followers and robots and all bots and all this kind of stuff, right? And like it's not real. The average person that has 500,000 followers, probably half of those followers are bots.
Well, that, and then I would say the other thing, like I just Googled like AI generated like obese people, and it'll be all these things. And then someone will have like a message, like this guy that I knew from Tyler, he started like his own like coaching, right? For like helping people like lose weight, like, I think he's like 51 or 52 now. And he was like resharing this video, and it was clearly an AI person like going into a fridge, and you could see the other hand, like, like AI, like you could just tell it like, this is a little too perfect of a picture. Cause like, that's not how pictures work. That's not how videos work. Sure. And I was like, he's like scratching himself like in his big boob, his man boob or something, the AI generated thing. So I'm not making fun of somebody because they don't exist. I was like, see the hand, like that's not real. I was like, this is AI generated. And he's like, I don't see it. And I'm like, you have to pay attention. And we're sharing these images out there, just like we're sharing images of what people are doing, that live in the White House. And it's like, see, look at this picture of the president. And it's like, you guys know that's fake, right? Or, hey, there's a new, my mom fell for this the other day. hey, there's a new Gilmore Girls season coming out, and it was a picture of the main character and her daughter, and I was like, Mom, this is an AI version, generated image. She goes, how do you know?
Yes, that's a
I
great
said,
point.
I said, all I have to do is Google Gilmore Girls new show. It popped up. It said, yeah, these are rumors and fake. And I was like, okay, why are we not writing this as AI generated? Come on.
Yeah, or like if it's not real, like what are you doing? What are you promoting if it's not real?
Right,
Why
right.
are we even
What's the
having
end
this?
game? What's the end game? Just get rid of it.
Yeah,
Get rid of it. Or
doesn't make
creating.
sense.
Did you see the now president when he posted a picture of an AI version of himself in a Pittsburgh Steelers outfit?
I
That's
didn't, but
weird.
I can imagine it.
And I'm
That's
not, and this isn't like
spot on.
this is not an anti-Trump rant. Like, I don't care. I'll tell our followers, I think he is not the right person in the White House. I will just say that, right? I can be like politically correct here. But the fact that we're letting a presidential candidate at that time use an image and no one's saying, hey, so this is fake. This needs to be taken off of social media. Hey,
Yeah.
like, we need to stop. Like, or like, hey, like this is like only like here's the places where you can post AI images, and the only places you can post it, like there has to be a disclaimer that says this is not real. Like
Yeah.
anything on this page can be false, or anything on this page can be AI generated, but any other platform it's not allowed. Like I just
Yeah.
don't get what you're getting out of that by posting a picture of you or posting an AI generated image of you in a Steelers outfit. Like it'd be cool if you were like, hey, what would I look like? Because I know you played arena ball, right? Like for the what was it, the Pittsburgh Power? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
what would it look like? What would it look like for me to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? Or like you're closest to the Bengals, right? Would you say you're close to the Bengals?
yes.
Yeah, like, hey, what would it look like can you generate an image of me at 25 years old on the Cincinnati Bengals? And then it goes up, and then you post it and go, hey, so this is obviously fake, but wouldn't it be cool to see me in a Bengals outfit? Like, only 17 years too late, LOL.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
hate
yeah,
AI. I'm sorry. I love AI, but I hate AI. Is that fair?
I'm the same way. Like I just feel like that it's frustrating because a lot of people waste so much time just sitting there playing on their phone, and it's like if for me, like what's something that I get excited about in like as far as like movies. Okay, so if I see they do it on YouTube too. It's terrible with the captions and stuff like new Terminator movie's going to come out and it's changing everything. That's like this storm is changing everything. That's what they're using on YouTube now to get you to click it. And then you click it and it's just a bunch of clips from all the other Terminator movies and there's not actually another Terminator movie coming out. And I'm one of these people like you can say whatever you want about Terminator and like how bad all of them are except for 1 and 2. I'm still gonna watch it because I freaking like Terminator. So you can kiss my ass, right? But you got me to click something that wasn't real.
They're now all upset
That
because
was-
you just
that was
wasted
my
it. Yeah.
choice. But then I just wasted 15 minutes on a bunch
Yeah.
of reused clips. So what I started doing is before I actually play the video, I'll open up the comments. And usually the first comment will say, just so everybody knows, this isn't actually a preview of this movie coming out. Or
Right. Thank God you just saved me.
Yeah.
Thank you to this person, Jim Smith, for saving me 15 minutes on a rabbit hole.
like people will create these AI generated images of a new sci-fi movie that's coming out, and there is nothing in that preview that had anything to do with the freaking
Yeah.
image that they used on the video.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so again, like to wrap all of this stuff up, you have to be super careful with what you're absorbing. It could be TikTok, it could be even Facebook. I can't tell you how many times some dumbass will post something that they think somebody actually posted that never happened. Like this man in Florida got eaten by an alligator while he was smoking a joint and hitting a golf ball and trying to save his
That
dog.
actually seems very plausible in the state of Florida.
Yes,
Sorry,
but
it
guess
does.
what?
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
It
And
didn't
you can,
happen.
and I said this on the last episode, we can post it. Yeah.
And so again,
Yeah.
you have to be careful.
Well, it starts with politicians have done that too, though. They've said, like, this judge is corrupt. So if you hear anything out of this judge, they're corrupt. And then that politician can legally say that, especially if they're on an investigation. The investigator or the prosecutor can't actually say anything
Yeah.
until the indictment comes down, because that's just the law that they have to live in. So let's hold everyone to a standard and go, you know what? Gag order. You can't talk about anything. And if you do, we're just going to
Yeah.
fine you $1,000 a day or
Again,
$10,000 a post. Yeah.
Like, because there's such a gray area with free speech, right?
Well, it shouldn't be
And,
great. It
and
shouldn't. It should be better. It should be more
well,
defined.
yes, it can be better, but I think ultimately this is where we can, the 10 people that watch this can come in and get an understanding of like some of the things that we've discussed and what you should look for and what you shouldn't look for when you're absorbing really sensitive to you information on social media, because it's very Wild West and there's really no way for anybody to regulate it legally.
Well, I would say our solutions are, from my standpoint, I would say you have to at least have at least some sort of media literacy. So if you are a young person, you should have to take, if I had a magic wand, again, magic wand, media literacy course in high school, another refresher in college, and maybe one before you graduate, and then one like maybe every 2 years you're a professional, just to understand how to navigate each area, because LinkedIn is obviously going to be a lot different than Instagram.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's a whole different cesspool, by the way. What the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani taught me about sales. Please stop posting that. But anyway, that's a whole other thing that I know you don't have to post on there. But I would say the other thing is keeping your kids off of line as close as, and then using it for good and being fully transparent. Would you say that that's a fair assessment of what we have as our solutions?
Is everything. I think,
Yeah.
Again, you can't force anybody to do anything, and that's how people have become millionaires, unfortunately, and billionaires. But
Right.
I think that people are smarter than they give themselves credit for. They just get sucked in doom scrolling, and they get sucked into buying things. Yeah, there's so many things. There are
Anything
certainly better things you can do with your time.
100%. Get back into reading. Read something. Read something. And I did want everyone to know that is watching the video version. We have my signature cocktails from our wedding. We have the Layla and the Dwight. The Dwight was a Moscow Mule that I have. I added a couple things behind so people could see how smart I am with all the books. Yeah, I just wanted to do that. Hopefully Justin has his flag coming in for a common athlete, and we'll add that in there too. We got the Premier behind his head.
I just don't know how that's going to go.
That's fine.
I didn't even notice that. I don't know
That's
how
okay.
that's going to go up there, but we'll figure something out.
We will. Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for listening. I'll put the outro after this, and we hope to have you guys come back next time. And you can listen on Spotify or YouTube, of course. And we hope you follow us on our Instagram page, which is at the Conjugate Dad Podcast. So we will talk to y'all then.
Peace.